comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Welcome to the best betting on pro wrestling podcast in the universe, the Bet Pro Wrestling Going Over podcast. I'm Vin. This is Scotsman. How's it going?
Going good, man. Good to actually have a co-host again this week because it's been sheer hell trying to cover WWE all on my lonesome. Well, me and my bottle of Fireball, but, you know.
Well, I wouldn't leave you hanging for WrestleMania. It's a big one. It's 2 nights. So I guess we should just get right into it, huh?
Yeah, we'll cover night 1 first. You want to lead us off with the first matches?
Okay, let's start off hot. Let's start off with Bad Bunny, a huge favorite at minus 850, taking on The Miz at plus 550. Anything?
I mean, my rule for wrestling is always bet on The Miz. It's worked out so many good times. Made a lot of money off betting The Miz. He's one of the biggest underdog bets. Really can't see him winning here. I'll probably bet a small amount on him just to stick with my rule. But yeah, it's got to be Bad Bunny, Ryan Satin's hero all the way.
Yeah, it might be worth a $1 bet on The Miz just for some action if you really need some action. But I really can't imagine Bad Bunny losing. You know, they got to get that clip around like they've got it around so much already. But
yeah.
Anyway, we also have a huge match. Braun Strowman minus 278 taking on Shane O'Mac.
I mean, Shane, I can't even. I'd have to look up actually his history and all these WrestleMania matches and so on to see how many he's actually won and lost. I think chances are he loses though, but I mean, you know, Strowman probably unbettable around minus 278. Shane plus 300. If he actually wins a few of these matches, if you go back and look at his history, then he'll be worth a bet, but I don't think he does, so probably no bet in that one.
Yeah, I know he lost to AJ Styles, but he did beat The Miz at that New York WrestleMania. I think the last one that was in front of fans. So I would actually take Shane McMahon here at plus 300. You know, there's nothing these McMahons love more than themselves. So I would go with that.
Not a bad bet.
How about this? The Tag Team Championship match. The New Day defending their titles. They're plus 175 against AJ Styles and Omos making his wrestling debut.
Yes, and they weren't even a tag team. It's awesome that that's happening for tag titles at WrestleMania. They're so prestigious. Anyway, this one thing to remember, this WrestleMania, first wrestling show in a year with crowds. It's going to be like last year's WrestleMania with a lot of feel-good results for the most part. People give the fans stuff to cheer for and so on. They all love a New Day. New Day plus 175 is a steal. I'm not saying the guaranteed to win, but this is like coin flip odds at best. I would actually put New Day favourites. Plus 175, the fans all get to celebrate with their pancakes and so on. Yeah, I'm betting New Day as of right now.
I would probably go with the AJ Styles team just because this is almost debut. You know, they've been building this monster for a long time. It would be weird for his first match to be a loss, in my opinion.
I get Nathan Jones vibes off him.
Yeah. Moving on, we have Seth Rollins plus 200 taking on Cesaro. This seems like Cesaro's big moment, and you know, a feel-good moment, like you said. I would go with Cesaro. How about you?
100%. I mean, they've been building him up prior to WrestleMania, and then they've kind of had to halt it while Reigns deals with Edge. But I'm pretty sure Cesaro's going to be slingshotted into the world title matchups. This seems like his moment. Seth's someone that can take a loss, no problem. So yeah, Cesaro all the way. Probably no bet at minus 200, but that's one to monitor and see if the odds go down.
Okay, how about the United States Championship? We have Matt Riddle favorited at minus 177, taking on Sheamus at plus 125, fella.
I've no idea on that one. Obviously, it's one that is potentially bettable, but you know, we just had the match set up last night, so it's a case of probably watching the shows a bit more to see what direction they lean. People will just have to check both our websites, betwwe.com and betonprowrestling.com, is see my prediction anyway at betwwe closer to the show, because that one I'm not sure about yet.
Yeah, my early thought is Sheamus, just because, that's a wrestler that clearly Vince McMahon loves, and Matt Riddle does not seem to be a wrestler that Vince McMahon loves. So I would lean towards Sheamus, but we got some time here.
That is some good reasoning, though. I thought that too. Vince probably isn't a big fan of Riddle's, so we'll see how that one goes. But yeah, Sheamus doesn't look a bad bet.
Probably the most interesting odds on the card, we have the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match between Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. Bobby Lashley plus 100, Drew McIntyre minus 106. A true toss-up.
Easy bet for Drew McIntyre. They were always planning, they took the title off him. The plan looked to be to give him that final face pop of winning the championship that he missed out on last year at WrestleMania. Now he gets the whole crowd cheering for him as he wins it back. I've thought of this. I heard this theory about a couple of months ago, and it was playing all in. I was a bit worried about Lashley getting turned into a face, but on Raw last night, Lashley broke up the Hurt Locker. Everyone's pissed at him. Perfect. Everyone hates him again because he broke up this awesome stable. We'll blame Lashley for that, not the creative team. And Drew McIntyre, easy bet. He's taking it, getting that big pop that he deserves.
Yeah, this definitely seems like a do-over from last year's win over Brock Lesnar that didn't get the reaction that they thought it would. And, if you can't afford Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley is the next best thing. Finally, this is probably the main event if I had to guess. Bianca Belair, minus 278 versus Sasha Banks, plus 200.
I'm almost tempted by Sasha. Women's matches is where you sometimes get surprise upsets, and this one is one of those where I think there's a lot of potential for an upset. It's not one I'm betting right now, but it's one I'm going to look into. I'm going to focus on a lot more going into WrestleMania and possibly bet Sasha.
Yeah, the Royal Rumble winner has not been the lock that it should be over the past couple of years. Last year it came in for us, but prior to that, it has not been, set in stone. I'm leaning Bianca here, but we'll just have to see where the odds go in the next couple weeks. Before we get to night 2, you can check us out. You can subscribe. You can leave us a review on Apple, or anywhere you get your podcast. Give us a 5-star review. Move on to night 2. We have maybe the biggest match in the history of professional wrestling. I'm talking, of course, about The Fiend, minus 950, taking on Randy Orton, plus 800.
How do we not bet Randy Orton here at this price? I cannot see any reasoning not to bet Randy Orton at plus 800 at all. It's at worst, it's a coin flip. I mean, yeah, you got to just bet Randy Orton and see what happens. Fiend probably wins, but at that price, yeah, you got to bet Orton, RKO. I mean, the Fiend's tormented him for so long. Alexa's tormented him for so long. This potentially could be one of the biggest wrestling upsets, odds-wise.
Yeah, I'm all over these Randy Orton odds, not just because of what you said, but just because every match the Fiend wrestles, I hope it's going to be a loss, and then we'll never see the Fiend again. So maybe this will be our chance. This match should be a lot of fun. Kevin Owens, minus 200, renewing his lifelong feud with Sami Zayn, plus 190.
I don't hate Sami's odds. I think for this one, we've got to wait and see what happens next week on Raw involving Logan Paul, because I have a feeling he'll play into WrestleMania at some point, whether that's to interfere against Kevin or interfere against Sami. Not 100% sure yet. So I think it's a case of we'll watch Raw, we'll see what's happening with him, and then go from there. But whoever the underdog is, probably worth a bet in that one. Could go either way.
Yeah, it's interesting. Logan Paul is a pretty big celebrity, but I can't imagine him being very popular. So, the celebrity and the babyface, raising each other's hands is not really in play here, I don't think. Maybe the good news is that Logan will probably have a party with underage girls after the show, so he's got that going for him. Moving on, we have a tag team championship match. Rey and Dom Mysterio challenging Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. The Mysterios are minus 300. The champs are plus 200.
I mean, like I said, try to send the fans home happy and so on. The Mysterios probably win this one. But that's definitely one where Ziggler Roode doesn't seem like the worst bet. I don't hate it, so it's definitely something I'll be considering going into WrestleMania week.
Yeah, I'm always liking underdogs, but this to me feels like a big time, opening match, make the crowd happy kind of deal. Dolph Ziggler is born to lose. I probably won't bet on this at the odds, but I do think the Mysterios will capture gold here.
Makes a lot of sense.
Another title match, Intercontinental title, a rematch of Fastlane for some reason. We have Apollo Crews minus 120 taking on Big E at plus 110. Why Apollo Crews just didn't win the title at Fastlane and give us this rematch then? I can't answer that question.
They must have just been saving it for Mania, I guess. To have him win the title, that's the only thing I can think of. But then it's like, why would Big E win unless Apollo's going to face? I have no idea what they're doing. I bet on tipped Apollo at Fastlane, lost that one, and I don't know if I can bet him again just because of that. Plus, Big E probably wants to win, again, send the fans, make the fans happy. I really don't know. I think the Raws, due to the Hurt Locker breakup, it's a case of watching, see how they position Apollo. If they look like they position him as more of a face, big face, get into this one, go with it.
You know that Apollo Crews isn't in the Hurt Locker, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He's on SmackDown.
Oh my gosh, that was really bad of me.
For the reason you said, that we both bet on Apollo Crews at Fastlane and lost. I think this is just like classic WWE booking. Like, if you remember last summer, Randy Orton lost to Drew McIntyre like 5 times and then finally beat him for the title when it didn't matter. I think that's the deal here. Apollo Crews has lost to Big E enough that he can beat him at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, Apollo Crews, who isn't in the Hurt Locker, by the way, in case you weren't aware, he's got his national gimmick going for him and all that stuff. It's working out well. He probably should win this one, but, who knows? Like, after Fastlane, that was the time to give him the win, I think, and they didn't, so I probably won't touch this one betting-wise. Okay,
and then we have the Raw Women's Championship. Rhea Ripley minus 300 taking on Asuka at plus 225. Asuka has been champion for almost a year now. Will she lose here?
Probably. It seems like the right time to pull the trigger on Rhea Ripley. And I mean, Asuka's, I feel like her stock's going down quite a bit in the company. Like, you saw the stuff on Raw with Riddle and all that, and it's like, I don't know. I think it's a perfect spot for Rhea Ripley to win. Would be a big mistake if they don't do it, And we saw in AEW last week what a good feeling it is when you give a woman that push that they need, like Taya Conte getting it, and it's like, yeah, this is it. Rhea Ripley has to win here. Big mistake by WWE if she doesn't win. Nice and clean.
Okay, and then finally, a match that these odds are just honestly baffling to me. Edge plus 115, Roman Reigns plus 220, Daniel Bryan plus 200. I mean, Edge has been such a bust that they had to put Daniel Bryan in this match, but he's still the favorite? Explain that one.
It's probably kind of going by my rule where they think a face has to win and so on, and they think it's Edge. From what Meltzer said, they haven't lost faith in Edge. They just brought Bryan in to shake things up, and it was a good idea. But it's going to turn into a mess because we know how the fans react if Daniel Bryan doesn't win every single match, so it's going to be a bit of a mess. For me, I don't think you can have Edge win because I think the fans turn on him because Bryan's in the match. I think Bryan's only been added in there to shake things up. I actually think they're going to go with Reigns, and I think it's going to be something where like he pins Bryan or something so that he gets over more as a heel, because he's, unless they're going to come up with some plan to turn him face, he's awesome in his role right now. Pinning the fanboy Daniel Bryan And then it also sets up Edge versus Roman, the next pay-per-view, and Roman's got Cesaro to deal with. Roman Reigns plus 220, I'm all over that right now.
I'm right there with you. Roman Reigns, that'll probably be my largest bet I make on the night. Edge is better as a heel, whether they put Daniel Bryan in there to shake it up or not. He's still going to be a heel in the long run. But Roman Reigns is the top heel, and I don't see any reason to change that. And Daniel Bryan, when's the last time he actually won a match,
Yeah, and Roman is awesome in his role. Like, me and you aren't the biggest WWE fans, but that's, like, he's phenomenal in this role right now, and it's like, it's one of the things that make WWE worth watching, that and Matt Riddle backstage promos, the only two real highlights of WWE right now. So, yeah, Reigns has to win, 100%.
Yeah, and I know we said before, too, like, a lot of this show could be, babyfaces winning, giving crowds happy moments, but by the end of night 2, they don't need to do that anymore, and they probably won't do that anymore.
Oh yeah, Roman standing tall while all the fans boo him because he pinned Bryan. It's a beautiful vision, you know what I mean? They got to go with it. It'll really cement Reigns as a heel.
Okay, well that's it for our WrestleMania odds. You can keep tuned to our websites where we will update the odds if more matches are announced on the road, and if there's any major changes. But as not, like and subscribe to our podcast. Check us out, betwrestlingpodcast.com.
Reviews on Amazon, of course. And Barnes & Noble, and, Walmart as well. Go to Walmart, give us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate that.
Okay, well, that's our show. Thanks for listening. We'll be back for the next show.
Yeah. Good ending.
Yeah, live from the Gulf Coast. Welcome to the greatest spectacle seen around the world. Tonight we face our enemies. All the gold is up for grabs. Always keep your eye on the prize. I'm a beast. It's time to make you believe. There's no one defeating the team. I heard that they said we were scared of the fire, but I'm hearing the words I desire. So I don't care what you think. I'll be the one that makes you look a drink. I'll be the one that defeat the Kraken. I'm a beast and I'm always attacking. So tell me what's happening. Radiant your village and lighting the match. So far from I'm a beast.